Hey YouTube! Oh my god, it has been a long time since I've done one of these, and the reason for that is I've been working very hard on Discord version 3.0, which is finally live. Oh my god, I've been working on this thing since March, and I had to spend the last few months like really getting down and dirty with it to get it finished, and it's done. So if you aren't a regular viewer of the site, you should check this out because, oh my god, we got all kinds of great news for you. And I've added new features. There's a forums that people have been bugging me to do for years. And now there's also a music app guide, which is going to be really useful for people that are fans of series like these. You guys are the people that actually pay attention to apps, and you know your apps. You are way more informed than the average iTunes reviewer. So if you come over to the music app guide, you're going to find every single music app in this. And you can look up an app and say, hey, there's Phasemaker. And you can then rate those apps if you sign up for an account. And I've made that as easy as possible. You can sign up with email, Facebook, Twitter, Google. And by signing in, you're going to be able to vote on these apps. And they're all ranked in categories. So you see this is in the category of synths, and it is ranked 30. But as I vote for it, it now gets a better rank. Now it's rank 18. And you can then go through synths and look at what other apps are rated by readers. So Animo, obviously, number one. That's not a surprise to anybody. But as you go through the list, you can find other interesting apps, and there's a whole bunch of different categories. And then you can do different sorting and sort by devices and stuff like that. So, oh my god, it's finally done. So now we can get back to Let's Playing. So let's play with Phasemaker. And what a better... there couldn't be a better app to get me back into doing these Let's Plays than an FM synth, because I love FM synthesis. I hate explaining FM synthesis, though. So I'm going to try to avoid doing that. I'm just going to get into this and show you some ideas, some ways to play around with it, because unless you're on the autism spectrum, you're not going to be able to come up with some sort of crazy patch thinking about all these algorithms. It's helpful to just understand the basics and the concepts. So as you open this up, the presets are pretty poor. They range from generic to awful. But fortunately, there's a mutate under the utility, and this gets some great results real fast. You can build up your own presets in a hurry with this. That's an interesting patch right off the bat. And if you find something that you like, which one is it? Oh yeah, you just store it right there and save that. And now you've got that saved in your user's presets. It's like a really fast way to quickly come up with things. But I'm going to show you how to make one from scratch. I'm going to start off doing something that's quite popular on the DX7, which is the most popular FM synth. A Tynes piano. It's going to start off as a Tynes piano, and then it's going to go off into its own weirdness. So the DX7 only had sine wave oscillators, and this has got a whole range of different oscillators. And we're going to start off with just doing the basics here. We got a sine on one, and let me turn off everything else so you're only hearing one now. And you'll see that in this algorithm, 2 is, or let me switch to algorithm 1 here. 2 is modulating 1. So we're only going to hear 1, we won't hear 2, and I'm going to turn off 3 so we don't hear 3, 4, 5, and 6. You can barely hear that, but that is just a plain sine wave. And as I bring in 2, it's going to change things. If I change 2. So we've got this ratio here, right in the center. And as I change the coarse knob, you hear how that changed the whole pitch and everything else for 1, even though we don't hear 2. Like if I turn off 1, we won't hear anything, because 2 is just a modulator. It's like an LFO, but not a low frequency. It's an audio rate frequency modulation. So it's rattling that around really fast, and it's making an entirely different pitch and timbre and everything. So we got kind of a fun plinky thing, and we can go into this now and open up the envelope to give it some character. So it gives us that plink, but we don't want it to just keep plinking. We want it to plink and then fall off and just give us the hum. So that's kind of a good kind of, it captures the essence of what Tynes patches sound like. So I'm going to move on from there. I've got the first chain in our algorithm, the 1 and then the 2 figured out. So I'm going to go in here. I'm going to turn off 1. So now we're only going to listen to what's going on with this other bigger chain of 3, 4, 5, and 6. And 3, let me turn off 4 so it cuts off the rest of the chain. 3 is just another sine. And we're going to leave that as is. I want to show you a way to shape the tonality, because we don't have a filter. It's not like subtractive synthesis where we can just kind of shape it down if we want to get low. So the way that you would do that in frequency modulation is to change this ratio that we were playing with before. Let me make sure I've got everything on. 3 and 4 are on. Let me turn off 5 and 6. And now with 3 being modulated by 4, I'm going to change the ratio from 4. Oh, and let me change this over to a square. That's really quiet. All right, that's close. Where is that? There we go. So if you've got any familiarity with notes and how they actually work as hertz, you'll know that 440 is a C, a middle C, and that's a C in the 3rd octave. But a C2 is 220, so at half of the hertz, that is a lower octave. And that's basically what we just did here. By changing the ratio in half, we've sliced that hertz down an octave. So that's why I had to go way up to before we can hear it. But we're going to do some interesting stuff to make sure that we continuously hear it by modulating the modulator. So we've got 4 modulating 3 right now, and now we're going to use 5 by bringing that in here to modulate 4. And this is where things get super weird. I got to bring it back up so we can hear it while it's doing that. This is like bafflingly quiet. Let me make sure that the envelopes on these are correct. All right, that's good for now. Going back over to 5. Looking for it. There we go. So we've got an electric sound, right? Before we had kind of a squarey sound, but now it's got this electric quality to it. And we can screw around with this even more, right? So we've done the thing where we're playing with the coarse and we're changing it down an octave, but we can also play with the ratio into inharmonic ranges. So as long as the ratio is like 1.0 or 2.0 or some whole number, it's probably going to sound clean and smooth. But if we change it and we make it rough, it's going to sound more interesting. So right there, what I just did, you couldn't plan for. You couldn't like think in your head, a 13.07 ratio is perfect, right? Like nobody can figure that out. What I did was just play with the knobs, and that's all it really takes to figure out good patches is an understanding of how the modulators are modulating each other in the chain. And that's something you just kind of learn with practice, and then play with a couple of knobs, and you get an interesting, thick sound like that. So now I'm curious to hear what this sounds like when we bring in 1 and 2 again. And I think I'm going to have to play with the mixing here on the operator levels. So if I, let me turn off 3 so you're only hearing 1 and 2 again. If I bring down the mix on 2, it's going to modulate 1 less. So you can use that to control complex patches like this. To bring out the characters you want and bring down the ones that are a little too aggressive. And it has built into it some reverb, which I think will sound great on this. Let's give it massive reverb. I'm liking that. There's a whole bunch of other things that we can be playing around with. Be careful when you're touching these, the quick carriers and modulators, because that will affect all of your oscillators. So don't touch those unless you mean to actually change the ratios on everything. But the LFO section gives you some better control over the feedback. And in the program, you can do some interesting things with an additional pitch envelope. But I don't think that we need that right now, because we've already got a great combination there. I like that of the plink, which sounds hard and metally, but the buzzing sub bass thing there is giving it some organic quality. I've really enjoyed this. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you very much to all my Patreons. By the way, I forgot to mention, Patreons of either the site or this Let's Play series will get an ad-free experience. You see that there are no ads at all on the page anymore for people that support me. And I really do appreciate it very much, guys. This is my job, and I really do need your help to keep doing this because the ads aren't doing it. So thank you very much, guys. Take it easy. There's one other section here that can sometimes get a little crazy, and that's the jitter, where it's going to change not just the playback rate, but it'll jump back and forth across, so that in some instances that can just sound too muddy, but in this case I think that's going to actually sound really cool. So let's see what happens here. And that was serendipitous. I had no idea it was going to be that cool. That adds a whole extra layer of haunting to it. Oh my god, okay, that's done. Let's move on. This is the master ADSR. Switching that around to hopefully give it a little bit more of a bassy pluck feel, kind of, maybe. Oh yeah. Let's ARP this shit.